Good evening, Barb. How are you? Good to see you. Hello, Mom. Appreciate you watching. I'm fine, Barb. Thank you. I appreciate it. Elizabeth, good evening. Lisa, it's nice to see you don't have something pressing going on. Good to see you. Good to see all you guys. George, my man. What's up, George? Good to see you. Helmick. Big Helmick. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, dude. Jen, good evening. I know it's past your bedtime, but it's nice to see you on here. Hello, Maya. Good to see you. Good to see you. Give it a couple more minutes, then we'll get started. All right, George, I got to put my glasses on. What we got here, bud? No, George, I don't believe. I still listen. If you guys can't see this, my buddy George just asked me if this was the mark and all that, the shot. I still, from all the studying I've done in the Bible, I still do not believe. Listen. I emphatically, okay, emphatically do not believe the shot is the mark of the beast. I do, however, believe we are being conditioned. This is all a conditioning period. We're actually going to talk about that word a little bit more tonight, conditioning. So I don't think, actually, it's not biblical. It's not biblical. So you don't. If the shot were to be given to us in our hands or our foreheads, then I'd say, okay, we got something there. But the Bible specifically says the mark of the beast will be either on our hands or our foreheads. The Bible does not lie. The Bible does not twist words. So that's my answer to you, George. One way or the other, we are in a crap storm of epic proportion, and we need to fight and stay strong, right? Lisa, Chris. Yeah, I'm getting old. I can't see some of you guys. Good evening. Good to see you. Mary, good to see you. Braylene, happy to see you on here. Jen, good to see you. Good to see you. If you're just tuning in, somebody had asked me a question, and I was just explaining it a little bit. You guys haven't missed anything yet. Diane, good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're getting ready to get out of... hope you're getting ready to retire soon. I really do. I hope. I don't wish that place on anybody. Lisa, happy belated anniversary to you and Fitz. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. Happy belated, whatever. I'm glad to see you guys had a good trip. It was good to see some of your pics on there. Willie says, end times will make this stuff today look like a picnic. He is absolutely correct. What we are going through now ain't got nothing on what's going to happen during the tribulation. Guys, listen. I have videos that I did last year about the end times, about the rapture, about the tribulation, about the second coming, about how all this ties in. These videos are still up there. You can either find them on this page that you're watching now, or you can go to YouTube, Disconnected Ministry, same deal, and look them up. And they're labeled, you know, the rapture, the tribulation. There's 2 or 3 videos on there. I just did it. If you guys want me to do them again, I'll gladly talk about it again. You know, if that's something you guys need, but the information's out there. Check it out, read it, watch it, get back to me if you have any questions as always. So let's get started. Good to see you people who are just coming on now. Leonard Ball, good evening. Fitz, what up? What up? So I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I want to thank everybody who watched last week. If you read my post earlier this week, you'll see that I had a little bit of trepidations. Them all went away quickly. Thank you guys for your support. We're already up over 20 people tonight. That's a blessing. We're averaging in the hundreds every week of people watching this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I say it all the time. Your time is valuable to you. Therefore, your time is valuable to me. I don't take any of this for granted. I don't take you spending 35 to 40 minutes with me for granted. So, thank you. Thank you guys for sharing these. I appreciate the few. I can never understand that. I appreciate the few of you who share these videos. I often wonder why the rest of you don't, but hey, you know what? I'm glad you're here. I'm not yelling. I'm just glad you're here. I don't know what the weather's like in your guys' area. I hope you're all experiencing some nice weather. I know where I'm from, this part of the country, Western PA, we've experienced a lot of rain lately. In the last 14 days, I think it's been sunny twice. So I see a lot of people on Facebook complaining about the rain. I just want to remind you guys this. Listen, the rain is peaceful, okay? Rain brings quietness. Rain brings tranquility. Not to mention, rain is a blessing. Rain is one of the blessings from God. If you've spent any time in the Old Testament, you'll understand that rain was prayed for. So be careful how much you guys complain about the rain. Listen, I get it. We all want to be outside. We all want to be in the sun. We all want to be enjoying ourselves. I get that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But don't overlook the peace and tranquility and the blessings that can come from the rain. I didn't have to cut my grass all week. That's a blessing in itself. Now, I'm going to have to cut it soon, but either way, there you go. So, another thing, everything you see going on TV right now, right? All this mess with Afghanistan and our administration and whoever these people are that are running our country, I'm not going to get into it. 1, it'll get my blood pressure up. 2, I'll probably start cursing, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to say this. I know that 9 times out of 10, if it's headlining on mainstream media, listen, if it's headlining on mainstream media, it is a diversion. They are diverting your attention from something else. Just like what you've seen today. Oh, a quote-unquote Trump supporter happened to have a bomb at the White House. Diversion. They're diverting your attention. I don't know where to go to get the truth anymore other than the Bible. I don't know where to go to get real news. I don't know where to go. I don't have any advice for you guys. All I can tell you is stop watching it. Start praying. Stay in your Bible. Stay close to the people you know who are giving you truth. I'll try to come at you guys as much as I can with current events, but sometimes I get sick of it just like you guys. Like, it's almost to a point now where something would happen tomorrow that could be more crazy or bombastic or just ludicrous, and it'd be like, that, go figure. Like nothing is shocking anymore, right? Nothing is shocking. But like I tell you guys all the time, pray. 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 It's an absolute clown show in D.C. right now. A clown show. But you know what? They need prayer. This country needs prayer. The people, whether they're good or bad, who are running this, need prayer. We need to pray for an intervention. And just like last week where we talked about considering God, do we ever consider God? Guys, God can change the trajectory of all this like that. We can wake up tomorrow and everything can be changed. But you got to pray. You have to pray. And if you get down and you get in the dumps and you start feeling like the walls are closing in, guys, listen to me. God wins. Okay? I can't stress that enough. God wins. If you put, I usually give you guys refrigerator material. Write that in big fat letters and put it on a refrigerator. God wins. And no matter what the media throws at you, no matter what the stupid government throws at you, no matter what happens in the next coming months, look at that and remember, it doesn't matter because God wins. And we're all in this together. We are all in this together. Amen. So last week, we talked about Moses sending 12 scouts into the promised land. They had come upon the promised land, right? And Moses sent 12 scouts out. And 12 scouts came back. And 10 of them reported all this beautiful stuff and then threw a little bit of fear. Just threw a little bit of fear at the people. And what happened? They stirred the people up. They got the pot of fear right. They just started stirring it and brewing, and it didn't matter. 2 people came out. Joshua and Caleb said, wait, no, this is not true. We have God. Let's go. And the people were already too far gone. They were too far scared. They were too far given into their fear that 10 guys changed the course of history. And if those people would have just listened to 2 people, Caleb and Joshua, they would have inherited their promised land with like that. Meanwhile, because they listened to these 10 people, because they bought into fear, because they got wound up and thought, oh my goodness, we're going to die, they wandered around for 40 years. They never saw the promised land. And if you remember what I told you guys, it was right there. It was right in the distance. It was only a few miles away. They never saw it. So, this week, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about some of the little bit of the current events, just a little bit, because I got to get you guys prepared for tonight's message. But listen, this is something that I want to make sure we understand. I can get on here every week and talk about politics. I can get on here every week and talk about the craziness that's going on in this world. I can get on here every week and, call our government a clown show. And I know some of you people love that. Some of you people get on here and look forward to that. But here's the deal. We're still here. We're still on this earth. And I have said it 100 times. And I've told everybody on here this. If God didn't want you to be dealing with any of this, you would have been born in 1940. You would have been born in 1840. You would have been born in 1740. You are here right now, because God wants you here. Think about that. That is an awesome responsibility. Every day we wake up and we think, look at the world, it's falling apart. Yet God has you here right now as a Christian. Do you know what that means? That means he expects more of you than to just sit around and do nothing. God has you here for a reason. So with that in mind, we cannot let this stuff get to us. If you look back on 2020, how many people do you know when they found out about COVID, when they started believing all these death numbers, how many people do you know went out and just said, screw it, I'm living how I want. I'm going to party more. I'm going to drink more. I'm going to sleep with more people. I mean, I know people who went out and bought $70,000, $80,000 cars. I don't care if I'm in debt. I don't care. Who cares? The world's going to end. Look at all the people that bought side-by-sides. You can't touch a side-by-side right now. One of those ATVs, you know, the four wheels with the cages. You can't touch them. People spent money last year for a country that was locked down, for a country that was in fear, for a country that was scared to leave their house. People spent money on toys like it was crazy. Just because we're in a crap show, just because things aren't going the way we want them to, doesn't mean we stop being Christians. We're still on this earth. We still have a job to do. You can't just throw it all away and give it up and start living like an idiot. You still have a responsibility. The Bible doesn't say when the going gets tough, just give up and do what you want. No, it says keep pushing forward. We still have to grow and we still have to learn. So that's why we're going to talk about what we're talking about tonight. Minding your own business. Now, with that said, there's a lot of talk right now about vaccine passports. Ugh, just the mention of those two words makes me cringe. It actually makes me really upset. It makes me mad. But, wow. Vaccine passports have been thrown in our face by the government while they are clearly evil. There is a responsibility on our part for them. Hear me out. Some of you guys are not going to like this, but I'm telling you, God lays this stuff on my heart all the time. One of the reasons why vaccine passports are even being mentioned is because the majority of Americans, millions of Americans, laid down last year and wore masks. Oh, here he goes again with that mask stuff. Listen, if you don't like it, whatever. It's the truth. When all this junk went down last year and people started to realize, oh, come on, my immune system has been fighting off stuff for years. It's not this bad. The minute they locked down, the minute they said we couldn't go anywhere when the lockdowns were lifted, but yet we couldn't go anywhere without a mask, if the majority of people would have not wore a mask, would have fought it, would have stood against it, would have not complied, if the majority of people would have just stopped it right then and there, that's it. We wouldn't even be having this vaccine passport conversation right now. Because we, the people, are the ones who control all this. But because we kept going grocery shopping, and we kept going to stores, and we kept going to sporting events, and we kept going on airplanes, and we did whatever they told us so we could live our life, we are to blame for this. Guys, listen to me. Yes, it's evil. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, it's tyranny. But we, the people, are to blame for a lot of this. We were conditioned, and listen, I'm saying we the people because I'll just throw myself in there with you guys. But you know me, I ain't got no time for any of this junk. We were conditioned to accept all this stuff. And the one thing that makes me more mad than anything now is there isn't even any mask mandates out yet, and I'm seeing people wearing them like there are. Like, really? And now they're starting to, this vaccine passport nonsense is starting to take hold. It's starting to catch momentum. When are we going to stop? When are we going to... Guys, stop waiting for somebody to do something. We talked about it last year. We can do something. Conditioning. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning. We are being conditioned for the Antichrist. We are being conditioned for the end times. We are being conditioned for all that. All that is evil. Why would you want to play into that? Every time you wear a mask, every time you comply, every time you say, well, I'm going on vacation, so if I got to wear a mask, you're given into evil. You're playing with evil. You're being conditioned. And if you're going to sit there and say, it's not, I'll never take the Antichrist, the mark, I'll refuse that. No, you won't, because you ain't refused anything for the last year and a half. But we've been conditioned for years. See, that's the kicker. This crap didn't just start in 2020. We've been conditioned for years. And one of the reasons why vaccine passports, another reason why vaccine passports are going to be able to... Isn't it absurd if you think about it? Isn't it just absurd if you think about it? In 2019, if you were to walk into a restaurant and they came up to you and said, do you have the flu shot? Because if you didn't take the flu shot this year, you can't come in. You would have laughed in that person's face and walked to your table. You know what, dude? I'll just seat myself. You know what? Forget your table. I'm going to go to the... What are you, a joke? What, did you take too many drugs before you started working? You wouldn't have even... You would have laughed the dude out, or the girl, or whoever. You would have laughed them out of the joint. But now... now it's a little more acceptable. Why? Because you've been conditioned. And do you know where this conditioning starts? You know where I think it started? For me personally, well, not personally, but my personal opinion is it started with social media. It started with social media. Because I'm old enough to remember we had rotary phones, right? You remember the push button phones? Well, before the push button phones, they were just round dial. And you had to 1, and you had to go all the way, and then 9, okay? That's the only phone we had. And if you wanted to talk to somebody, if I wanted to talk to a girl when I was 13, I had to sneak in my parents' bedroom and get on their one rotary. We had 2 in the house, 2. 1 downstairs in the kitchen where everyone heard your business, and 1 in my parents' room where no one heard my business. But the minute social media got on, the minute we got these stupid things, now all of a sudden, think about it. Everybody knows everything about everyone. Everybody knows everything about everyone. And again, who is to blame for that? Sadly, we the people are to blame. So we have been... Think about the things social media has conditioned us to think. I have 3 written down here. Right? Social media has conditioned us to, 1, be selfish. People get mad when I say that all the time. Social media has conditioned us to be selfish. Selfies. People get mad. No, listen to me. A selfie is selfish. The word selfie is a derivative of the word selfish. But we think it's okay. We think it's normal. Not one time in my life did I ever take a Polaroid camera and turn it around and hit it and wait for the thing to come out. Not once, ever. I never even thought about it. But now, people go, oh, how can you talk about that? What's wrong with selfie? Blah, 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 blah. We're conditioned to think it's normal. We are conditioned to think there's nothing wrong with it. That's 1. By the way, I'm just going to say this. Put your selfies up there. Get your 125 likes. 120 of them are blowing smoke up your butt. I promise you that. And if there's girls telling other girls, hey, you look good, half of them girls are, did you see her? What is she thinking? Why would she put that stupid picture up of her hair? That hair looks hideous. Meanwhile, she hits like on your thing. I mean, That's the kind of attention you want? Really? Number two, another thing social media has conditioned us. Social media has conditioned people to think other people actually give a darn. Again, if you have 500 friends on Facebook, if you have 500 friends on social media, and you write something on there, and 200 of them comment, how many of them are actually doing something? How many of them are actually coming to your door? How many of them are actually calling you up and say, how can I help you? To think people actually care about. Listen, look at some of the posts people write. Have you ever opened up Facebook, looked down your timeline, and read some of the things? What are you putting that on there? I know a couple who is in the middle of a divorce. 1 week, they're happy. The next week, they're not. I should have no business knowing anything that's going on in their life. It's none of my business. It's none of anybody else's business. But you know what? They're putting it on there. Why? Why do we think that? You know, if our parents got divorced back in the early 80s, they didn't get on the rotary phone and talk to 4,500 people. They might have reached out to one. They might have reached out to two. You know, they had their close people, but they didn't just throw it out there. No, in fact, they didn't want people knowing about it. They'd go to their pastors. They'd go to their churches. I'm going through something. Can you keep it between us? Please. But no, we're conditioned to think that people want to. Listen, I don't want to know. If you're struggling, talk to me personally. I will pray for you. But why are you telling the entire world? Why? Because we've been conditioned to think that's okay. See, this conditioning stuff, guys, is real, and it's been going on for so long. The third thing that social media has conditioned us to think, and I appreciate your guys' comments. I'll go back and read them. I'm not putting my glasses on right now to read them. The third thing that social media has conditioned us to think we have the right to know other people's details. Social media has conditioned a lot of people, the majority of people, to think they have the right to know someone else's business. And I'm going to tell you a little story, and it happened to me personally. I posted something on Facebook last summer. I probably shouldn't have posted it. I had my trepidations about posting it, but I posted it anyway. And it was something that you could call a major event. And I had people who called me up, people I considered my friends, text me and get mad at me. Get mad at me because I wasn't more detailed, because I didn't explain myself more, because I didn't put out there stuff they wanted to hear. Are you kidding me? Like, why do people act like they're going to lose sleep if they, oh my goodness, what is he doing that? Why do you need to know? Why do you need to know? Why do we have this infatuation with knowing other people's business? Because Facebook has conditioned us. Because social media has conditioned us to think it's all right. When you have people putting on there everything they ate for dinner, every time they get their hair done, every time they go on a trip, every time they do something, every time they go to work, every time they get in their car, every time they buy this or buy that, when you have people like that, and I mean all the time, then others are like, oh, well, I got to know. So you put your, okay, I just had friends who went on a trip. It was nice. They went on a trip. I got to see pictures of the beach. It was beautiful. This couple, God bless them, don't throw 5,000 other things on there. They're not going on there and putting what they're having for dinner every night. They're not going on there and posting every single thing they do every day. So you know what? That's okay. What I'm saying is there's this overload of information that we think we have to put out there and we think we have to hear. That's not biblical. Guys, listen to me. That's not biblical. What does the Bible say about that? Enough of me, and let's go to the Bible. 1 Thessalonians 4:11. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11. This is all you need to know about this subject. Make it your goal. Listen, come on, guys. Make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands. I can't say it any better myself. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11. Make it your goal. Strive to live a quiet life. Is going on social media and blasting every single thing you do quiet? No! No! It's not even close. Make it your goal to live a quiet life. Mind your own business. It's impossible to mind your own business now because you spend all day doing this. Listen, watching what other people are doing. Oh, look at them. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Can you believe? Don't get mad at me. This is biblical. Make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business, and working with your hands. Now, what do I tell you guys a lot? If you don't understand a verse, read the verse before it or read the verse after it. You can get so much on. Look at the next verse. God bless you, George. God bless you. I love you, George. I appreciate you, man. God bless you. The next verse, okay? Verse 11. Make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we have instructed you before. Verse 12. Then people who are not believers will respect the way you live. They will respect. That's 1 Thessalonians, Anna. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. Verse 12. Then people who are not believers will respect the way you live. How are we witnesses? What is the best witness we have? Not our mouths, because our mouths get us in trouble all the time. Because we say one thing and we do something else. Our best witness, the best way we can witness to non-believers is by our actions. And if we're constantly trying to delve into other people's business, what do you mean? Because think about it. How many of us, and I'm going to get to this next verse. Matter of fact, I'm going to read this next verse. Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others. Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Do not look out for only your own interests. You know what that means? Some of you, your own interests are finding out sordid details about people. Your own interests are finding out why they're doing what they're doing, right? We want juice. We love juice in America. And the juicier the story, the juicier the social media post, the more we love it. And we got to go back every 2 minutes. Oh, is there more? Oh, I wonder what so-and-so said. Oh, I wonder if they commented yet. We love that stuff. That's not what this means. Don't look out for your own interests, including juice. Take an interest in others too. Can you imagine if we seen somebody on here going through something, instead of gossiping about it, instead of hurrying up and texting, blah, blah, hey, you got to go check out what so-and-so wrote. You got to go check out so-and-so's post. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine if we actually reached out to that person and said, hey, I saw what you wrote. How can I help you? How can I help you? At the very least, let me pray for you. That is biblical. That is biblical. Going and having all this info at our fingertips and thinking we need to know what other people are constantly doing, that's not biblical. My last verse, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse, and see, here's the beauty of the Bible, right? It's not always one verse. It's not. There's 3 verses right there about one subject. People always say, well, the Bible's vague. The Bible is the furthest thing from vague. The Bible backs itself up constantly. There's more here, but I've got 3 for tonight. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15. Suffering. We all want to say we suffer, right? Oh, we suffer, we suffer. If you suffer, however, here we go. It must not be for murder, stealing, making trouble, or prying into other people's affairs. Think about that. Look what it lists. If you suffer, it better not be for murder. That's pretty bad, right? Murder. I mean, I don't get any worse than that. Stealing. Thief. Being a thief. You go to prison for murder. You go to prison for stealing. Making trouble. A lot of people in this world making trouble right now, right? But look at the 4th thing. With those first 3 bad behaviors, look at the 4th one. Do not suffer. It better not be for prying into other people's affairs. That's 3 verses from the Bible that says, mind your own bleeping business. Mind it. Now, I'm going to end it with this. And I want to drive this point home. This is not an excuse to let people do what they want. Well, wait, you just said to mind your own business. This is not an excuse to let people do what they want. Minding your own business is simply that. You stay away from gossip. You stay away from idleness. There's another version of the Bible that says you stay away from being a busybody. You avoid all that nonsense and you act like a darn Christian. But that doesn't give people an excuse to do what they want. And this is the perfect segue into next week because I'm going to start a new series in September. By the way, new series in September. It's about how to read the Bible correctly. But next week, we're going to talk about judging. This is a long time coming, and this is something I've wanted to talk about for at least 2 or 3 years. We are going to talk about judging next week and what the Bible clearly says about judging. So this is a perfect lead-in to that next week. Instead of getting caught up in gossip, and we all do it, including me, okay? Listen, I'm not immune to it. I get caught up in it too, and I have to check myself, and I got to look up in the sky, and I got to say, forgive me. We don't need to know what everybody's doing. We don't need to know every single detail. We don't need to know all the sordid juice. It's not going to make our lives any better. It's not going to help you sleep better at night. And you know what is the most important thing out of all? It's not going to get you to heaven. Everything we do on this earth while we're still here, we should, number 1, strive for heaven, and number 2, fight for freedom. Number 1, strive for heaven. Heaven is the goal. And number 2, fight for freedom. God, country. God first. If it's not good, if it's not helping us get to heaven, stay away from it. If you want to help and I mean legitimately help, then you call that person, you go and see that person personally like a normal human being. Don't text them, don't get on social media, don't DM them. You call them on the phone or you pay them a visit and you say, how can I help you? And if you don't want my help, then at least I'm going to pray for you. There's junk all around us, guys, but we have to keep being Christians. We have to keep living biblically. It's so important, okay? We cannot stop the goal of getting to heaven, right? The race is not over. We must race to win. I love you guys. I thank you guys. I hope you understood where I was coming from tonight. Like I said, this is a prelude to next week. Next week, we're going to talk about judging. If you have people in your life who say to you all the time, don't judge me, you tell them to tune in next week. You tell them to tune in next week. We're going to talk about it biblically. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I appreciate your support so much. Share these videos. You're not going to get struck down by lightning. It's okay if you lose some friends. They're really not your friends anyway. Guys, everything is going to be okay. God wins. We win. God loves you. I love you. Good night.